Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. Now today I want to talk about something that's actually been a question that I've been asked a few times on and off, either tangentially or very directly, and that is, what's the difference between like a coach and a therapist, or what's the difference between getting a coach and instead just finding a consultant? And so as a result, I wanted to just kind of go through the differences today. Just a simple, easy video where I can just explain a bit more of what I do when I do it. And as a result, one of the first things that I did was kind of remake a scale that was shown to me when I was doing my training, when all of this was explained to me personally. And that is this. And you've got a scale of intervention, because that's what we do. We come in and we intervene on your behalf to do a thing, to get a result. And so at one end, you've got therapy. And therapy, obviously, I'm talking about going and seeing a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a practitioner. And in a lot of instances, that person will also be able to provide and prescribe drugs to you if needs be, to manage conditions on your behalf, or will otherwise be able to refer you to other treatments that may be able to help your condition. And when it comes to the specifics of it, it's much more medical and analytical in terms of the way that it approaches a situation, rather than purely working around you, looking at ways forward. It will see a problem, try and address a problem, and then move on by itself, whether you're with it or not. Moving on to being a counsellor, though, counselling, similar to coaching in terms of it being usually much more conversational. But in terms of counselling, you're looking at addressing issues in the past and things that you can't necessarily do anything about, things that you can't necessarily make any progress on, but that have caused you an issue that you need to talk through. And there might be coping strategies involved, like some of the things that I've talked about in regards to issues that people may have on this channel. But for the most part, being a counsellor is more about addressing the past and making sure that you can exist in the present with the past kind of going on, or having gone on, rather. And then we've got being a coach. And being a coach, as I am, is being much more about what we can do in the moment to get to the future, because we can't do anything about the past. The past is already gone. It's a situation that's already completely closed to us. We can't change it. All we can do is move on from it. And yet, to move on into the future that we want, we need to have goals to pursue, we need to have challenges, we need to have ways of growing and developing, things to learn. And that's where coaching sits, where we're talking about going, planning, developing, and moving forward. There are certain individuals that I've coached who've benefited from a therapist to help them handle certain issues that they have, especially if some of the issues that they are having, that they have come to me with, have also been grounded in a more psychological route. Then as a result, they will very possibly go and see a therapist, or possibly have gone to talk through some things with a counsellor beforehand, so that they are then ready to come and engage with the coaching process. For instance, if you've got something hanging over your head from your last relationship, but you want to find your way into new relationships, new friends, new lovers, a way to move yourself forward into a long-term relationship that you actually care about, want, are engaged in, that won't harm you, and all those kind of things that will only enrich your life, then there's a good chance that maybe, depending on what the situations were prior, that you go and talk to a counsellor to find ways to manage the memories that you're having of that time when you were harmed before, or something like that. In which case, then, after that is concluded, or you have ways to manage, then you move on to the coach to plan what you can do right now to then move forward. So moving on, though, a mentor, because I've been a mentor as well, especially when I was working for other people and other companies, for big corporates and things. I was a mentor to one extent or another, and in a lot of those instances, it's very much more a case of a mentor stepping in and going, this is what happened to me, learn from my experience, follow my path. So where a coach is going, right, what we're going to do is sit down, talk out your path, the thing that you want, the ideas that you have. I will ask questions, apply methods, provide little ticks here and there to try and get the right information out of you for you, based on what you've told me. So if you say that you want to do X, Y, and Z, then I will ask you questions about X, Y, and Z, how you can be helped, what options you have to get there, who can help you, what strengths you have, what things might hold you back, and then at the end of it we will have not just you want X, Y, Z, we will have you want X, Y, and Z, as well as how to get there, A, B, C. And as a result, that can then be actioned, it can be worked on, and then I can hold whoever my client is accountable to whatever plan they have laid out. A mentor, though, is going to go, this is what I've done, this is the way that it is usually done, now it is you to follow the path. Follow the path. And this can be incredibly helpful, going in and getting someone else's perspective when they have already been there, already done that thing. When you go in and have a discussion with someone and they go, well, one of the things that I did was this, and you go, holy crap, I never would have thought of that. I'm going to run home and do it right now. It's allows you someone else's perspective to learn from, where, as I've said previously in regards to coaching, going, this is the idealized version of me who is over there, so that then I can gain perspective, I can view that person in a different way, I can create a role model of myself for myself, that then I can work towards attaining realistically. A mentor is very much I am a realistic role model who is going to come in, intervene in the things that you are doing, interact with you in such a way that you can see my working process, see what I did, learn from it, grow from it, and then move forward. And that's the way that it just follows through. And then you've got a consultant who comes in, goes, what do you want doing? And you go, this is what I want doing. And they go, great. And then they go do it for you. In which case they intervene very literally on your behalf. So this is the kind of scale from one end to the other that I'm working in. I talk to a fair number of consultants as well as counsellors and therapists in passing. Mentors are usually I've met a fair number of consultants who are also mentors. I've met a fair number of coaches, including myself, who are also mentors. Same with counsellors, who tend to also potentially be mentors, because they will step in at times and go, well, from my experience, I did this X, Y, and Z, and so here is the path for you to follow. And I'll admit, with coaching, there are times when I'm not supposed to provide an opinion. Not at all. I'm supposed to ask questions. I'm supposed to provide context, reflection around kind of their situation based on what their responses are. And yet, when it comes to certain situations where people feel hopeless, then especially when they're feeling down, they will look for inspiration. When they are feeling trapped, they will look for a way out. And in those situations, then they might end up asking me kind of about my experiences, things that I've done, strategies that I've used, strategies other clients have used, in which case that's when I would arguably step more towards the mentoring edge of coaching, rather than not, where I can provide the idea of, well, here are these coping strategies, as I do with the lists of them that I put up for you guys on here. And there it would be a case of maybe I share some experience, but I make sure to follow it up with a question, so it's still coaching. It's still very much a case of, this has worked for me or worked for other clients in the past. Would this be a thing that you could maybe make use of? What is it that you feel would stop you from doing this? It allows me to then move on to find other obstacles, other improvements that they could make, that they would like to make as well, quite importantly, to then progress in whatever situation they wish to progress in. So which one of these 5 different interventions should you go for? Well, that entirely depends on your situation. If it's a situation whereby it's medical, definitely go to a therapist. Definitely go to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or someone else in that realm to handle that situation with, because they are the only ones that can help you. Because if it's a medical or a very hard psychological situation, then they're the only ones with the remit to expand on further treatments or referrals to places that can actually help you. If we're talking about counselling, then again, that's usually for stuff that has happened in your past. It is things that are weighing you down. That is a way of shedding baggage more so than anything else. And so as a result, coming in, counselling is going to help you move back into the present instead of being mired in the past. So if your situation is that you have a problem that you can't escape, that has been going on for some time, that might actually be resolved but that you just can't shake, then going and seeing a counsellor may very well be the thing to do. But obviously, for instance, there are going to be things in your past that you can't do anything about. There are going to be things that it doesn't matter how much you talk about them, potentially that just kind of anchors you in talking about those things. It doesn't actually help you move on. It doesn't help you move back into the present to then move further into the future and plan into the future. And so counselling is one of these ones where I've seen people have a lot of good come out of it, but I've also seen them have a lot of bad come out of it. A coach, again, what do you want to do? Okay, how are we going to get there? Very much a case of, right now, what do you want? When do you want it by? And then I'll help you get there. So if you're willing to put the work in, if you're willing to take the time, if you're willing to kind of develop yourself as part of the process, then coaching is very much for you. It can be hard work, but at the same time, the results that I see from my clients, some of which I am incredibly proud of, with the amount of work and things that they have done to step beyond where they started. I'm the results kind of speak for themselves. When you've got individuals who are at one point very, very timid or very, very scared of the world because they don't have direction, because they don't know what they want, then finding out what they want, developing their own direction, learning ways to cope with any obstacles that come at them, and then just continuing to move above and beyond. Coaching is one of the most openly applicable interventions on this scale here, that can be applied to so many different situations, because it always focuses on what's happening right now to get you where you want to go in the future. Mentoring very much if you're a bit lost but you're looking for a direction in a very specific way, has been my experience of it. So me with business, I start business, I want to go and do these things, great, I'm going to seek out a mentor of some description to provide more of a roadmap to me for things that I wouldn't have considered, things that I wouldn't have thought of, things that I maybe need to expand on, or things that I've expanded too much. He's going to give me an indication of kind of the scale of various areas that I need to work on, but also he's going to give me parts of a roadmap that I may very well not have ever thought of, or maybe not have even seen before, in which case that's again for more specific, narrow areas that need development. It's not so much a case of having, I don't know, for instance, in coaching, a lot of the skills that you learn from tackling one issue will then be transferable to another issue. Mentoring, stuff that I learn about a roadmap towards generating more business or being more successful, handling my admin better, whatever else along those lines, that very, very well may not help me in any other area of my life, because it's very specific information with one very specific roadmap in mind. But there might be a few transferable things here and there, organizational skills, presentation skills, stuff like that might be developed as a result of attaching myself to a mentor and him giving me direction. But otherwise it's not going to be as broad as some of the things, some of the coping mechanisms, some of the life skills that you'll learn from something like coaching or even something like counselling. And then you've got a consultant. This is when you've got a problem that is either so far beyond you or that you cannot be asked with, and so you hire someone else to do it for you. For instance, a lot of accountants are effectively consultants. Why? Because they get called in to handle someone else's books, to handle someone else's their finances, the ins and outs and the minutiae of it, because that person has no interest or inclination to tackle those situations. And it's potentially incredibly complex and stuff that they would not be able to do themselves with their skill set, or because, as is the case for many people, they just cannot be asked with it, which I completely sympathise with and understand. So again, you've got the different kinds of problems apply to the different kinds of intervention here. I personally, and one of the reasons why when I was considering maybe counselling or maybe becoming a coach, one of the reasons I stepped towards coach was because it is the most broadly applicable to lots of different situations, because I don't need to know anything about your industry, about your life, about the ways you interact with the world, about your personal beliefs, about any of those things from the outset. I will probably learn about those things as a result of sessions coaching you or coaching other people, but I do not need to know those things at the outset. Everything will fit into the coaching methodology to one extent or another. It might just require a little bit of reframing and refocusing on kind of what the actual issue is, so that a solution can be found. But then once a set of goals are in place, once you know what your options are, once you know how realistic it is that you're going to get there, and once you have that plan that you have built, you have written from the ground up, from scratch, by yourself, with nothing but some focusing from the assistance that I can provide, the planning methods that I can provide, the small amounts of input here and there that can be passed on and transferred between various different areas of your life. Then, once you've got that know-how, once you've got those tools, then that sets you up much better for every other challenge that you're going to come across further down the line. So that's one of the reasons why I chose coaching, one of the reasons why I very much jumped into this and wanted to leave kind of corporate employment rather than and coming straight into this by myself, for myself, to do it on other people's behalf, rather than getting stuck in corporate for the rest of my life. As much as it was interesting in places and whatever else, there was so much more I felt I could be doing, and this is where I ended up. So I hope that clarifies for all of those people who have, to one extent or another, asked me, well, what's the difference between these things? Because isn't just a coach a different kind of mentor, or isn't a coach a different kind of counsellor? And to an extent, yes, they're all on the same spectrum, they're all interventive services being provided, but at the same time there is a world of difference between them in regards to what problems they tackle and how they tackle them. So I hope this gives you guys a little bit of an insight into that. And then otherwise, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the video later today. Take care. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, then please drop us a like, share this video, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the video later. Take care.